Hi everyone, I'm Kayla Huzar and I am here to help you today get the most out of your journaling practice. And I remember the days that I would buy journals and they would just sit empty, and I would collect pens or go to Staples at school supplies time and get new things and just never made the time for it. So I am here today after I have transitioned myself into having a daily journaling practice, and I want to teach you how to do this. So I believe all mothers have a story to tell, every single one. Feeling joy and presence and worthiness in motherhood shouldn't be as hard as it might feel for you. My whole goal in everything that I do is empowering women to see their worth, to value their own self-care, and to flourish as their best authentic self, whatever their reality. So why am I here? As an expressive arts therapist, I support mothers who are looking to shed the guilt, listen to their authentic voice so that they can meet their own needs and move through the demands of motherhood with less resentment, less drudgery, more mindfulness and curiosity. This journal guide was created because I had hundreds of clients and they were all saying the same thing. I don't have time. I can't find the time. I have too many things to do. What would I even write about? What would I fill a journal with? Nothing that I have to say is all that worthwhile. And so this guide was created because I found that there are 5 main things that women need in order to show up with more love in their mothering, for their partners, for themselves. They need more self-compassion. They need less high expectations. They need to choose authenticity over researching, over Googling, over doing, over wondering, over everything. We need to notice and befriend our inner critics. They have stories to share with us. And we need to start living in the now. That doesn't mean you stop planning. That doesn't mean you stop working on your to-do list. It just means that literally your heart, your mind are in the same place as your body, so that you can really drop in, be present with your kids, be present with yourself. Maybe less mindless scrolling and using your phone to numb or distract yourself from the realities of your life. I assure you that numbing and distracting yourself using your phone is not serving you in the ways that you need it to. And journaling can serve you in those ways. And so we're going to get started.
What what is your favorite thing in life right now? And I know things are like upside down, or totally hitting the fan, or whatever metaphor you'd like to come up with tonight. Um, but I'd just like you to just hold in your mind, just for a second, your favorite thing, your absolutely favorite thing. Um, and and think about how often you are doing that thing. Um, is it a thing that you can even do? Maybe your favorite thing is going to Mexico, and so right now you're really, really like struggling with not being able to attain one of your favorite things. So I just want you to think about that favorite thing and imagine having the time, the energy, the resources, and the childcare maybe, to do that thing. Um, and the reason I bring this up is because pre March 14th, I think moms in general had very little margin for stress, overwhelm, uncertainty, unpredictability, those like curveballs coming at you. And now our margins are like even smaller. They're so small. Um, like I'll give a personal example. So today, um, so because of COVID, my oldest is in kindergarten, but we've decided not to put him in daycare as well, just for the touch point aspect. But my youngest is in daycare. So my oldest goes to kindergarten in the mornings, and so the afternoons he's with me or with dad. And today was one of those days where I had a lot of work to do, and I was feeling overwhelmed by it. And I knew that I wouldn't have a lot of margin um, to do it in, but that those feelings were still living in my body. And so I was really short with him, and we ended up in a big blowout, like a colossal kind of meltdown. Not really for him, but for me. Um, and I apologized, and we went through all the relationship repair steps that I like to do with him, because he's a highly sensitive child. So he thinks that when something like that happens, I'm mad at him, and I'm not mad at him. I'm mostly just mad at myself. Um, and so the reason I bring up this, like, what is your favorite thing, and just hold that space for a second for yourself, is that when we don't follow those urges of taking care of ourselves, and you can use the word self-care or whatever word you'd like to, insert there, but really what it comes down to is just like taking care of ourselves and maintaining that relationship with self. All of the other stuff can feel big, like almost too big. Like you can't handle an extra 5 minutes of your child stumbling at the door to get their shoes on, or you can't handle that extra midnight wake up, or you can't handle um, cereal getting spilled all over your table as I'm sitting at my kitchen table looking at all of the water bottles and the cups and the leftover supper that I have yet to put away. Um, and so when you think about that favorite thing and how often you can do it, or how often you're not doing it, or even how attainable it is right now, that thing or the other things that are your favorites, you don't just have to pick one. Um, that relationship with self is what is so important. And so the thing that I'm going to talk about tonight specifically is journaling. And I know when I've given this talk in the past, that some people, they kind of discount what journaling can be. And maybe that's a message from adolescence, or something from your teenage years around creativity or expression, or taking the time, or the poetry notebook that you carried around in your backpack. Um, so it can feel like, well, journaling, it sounds so simple. How can it be that simple? But for me, because I love expressive arts, um, I equate journaling, my kind of journaling, with going for a run. And so the journaling that I do it's spontaneous, it's uncensored, there's no judgment involved. Um, I might end up writing an angry letter to somebody, but I also might end up writing a list of all the things I'm grateful for. So here are the things that we know about journaling. It reduces stress. It actually improves your immune function, which right now is like pretty up there in priority for some. It actually keeps your memory sharp, boosts your mood. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Boosts your mood organically, just by journaling, it'll boost your mood. And it actually strengthens your emotional function. And so emotional functions is like your ability to regulate your emotion. So let's take it back to the example that I gave about today, when I had a colossal meltdown with my 5-year-old who just wasn't listening and was just being 5. Um, when I journal, and when I do it regularly, and when I do it with the intention of releasing, I'm creating space, like literally creating space in my body and my mind for the difficult things. I am better regulated. So I am more even keel. Don't get me wrong. I love me a good cry, or a really excited surprise moment. And that's not what I mean by regulated. I don't mean like this. Like, I don't mean just like this straight line, this baseline line, and not moving. I mean, your brain is literally better able to regulate those emotions. So like the dishwasher that's not packed properly, it doesn't get so under your skin, or it doesn't create the same level of resentment as it might have previous. Um, it's generally just good for you physically, mentally, emotionally. It expresses the things that maybe we would never say out loud. It's a container for the things that we don't want to say to our partners or to our mother-in-laws or our children. In my group today, in Mindful Mothering, if you don't follow me, it's a drop-in support group that I run every Wednesday morning. And this morning, at the group, a mom had shared that she's got two kids, and her older was just being ruthless, as children can be. And she said to herself, I really wanted to say, you are being an ungrateful little shite right now. And I just cleaned up your cereal and I'm on my way to make lunch, and, all the things that we do. But she shared this story in the sense of, because of her journaling practice, she was able to remain regulated, and she was able to maintain that like composure in the moment, and then was able to notice all of that stuff is information, that activation in our body, the that physiological sensation you get, when you're really stressed. um it it changed for her that moment because of the journaling that she had been doing previously. And she really noticed that she was able to acknowledge this physical feeling that was happening, which was anger, resentment, not being validated, not being heard. So she was able to notice the physical sensation and then change the course of how she interacted with her older child, simply because she felt more regulated and she felt more just calmer in her being. It didn't mean that it made her anger go away, or that she wasn't like totally infuriated in this moment, but she reacted differently to that scenario. So what's even more fun than all of those like scientific-y, researchy things is that journaling unlocks and engages our right brain. And with working with hundreds of women, I know that a lot of moms live in the left brain, right? They live in survival, to-do list, groceries, who's coming on the weekend, or what is our calculated reasonable risk in terms of going out or doing things. It's the mental load, right? The decision fatigue, all of those things live in the left. And what's the beautiful thing about journaling is that the journaling activates your right, and your right side is more likely to follow those creative urges that you might be having to have a dance party in your kitchen, jump in the leaves outside, to allow your children to create some mess, or to create some fun, or moments of silliness, or laughter. Laughter is huge. And the moms who I've been talking to this last week is that things are heavy, and it's difficult. It's difficult right now. And that journaling can release some of that for you. And it's pardon me, it's inherently validating also, because your journal isn't going to give you the unsolicited advice from 1965 that you really don't want. It's just there, containing you and holding you. It's like, imagine it like a container. So my my kind of how-to for those of you who might be green to journaling or wanting to start again, some of my my tips and tricks are: really get a book that you love. Get a book that you love to write in. It can seem cheesy, but how many of you have stood in the chapters aisle, or Staples and like just looking for the right paper, the right book. It is actually really important what your container looks like because you're more likely to write on something. And pens, beautiful pens that you really love to write with is important. Again, you're more likely to use them if it's materials that you love. So you can just start with a single line for those of you who might not be all that seasoned with journaling, or it's something that you're going to try again. A single line works, or a single, like, I was angry today, or I felt resentful today, or the dishwasher was loaded wrong again, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, things are piling on top of me. It's just a single line. You're not doing this for punctuation or grammar for somebody else or a blog post. You're just doing it for you, and that's really important to remember, is that it's really just for you. So having said all of that, before you totally exit your computer or your phone or wherever you are listening, I would encourage you to write that line down. Just start with one line, and it can be, I am feeling ... and just let it go. Let it go for as long as it needs to go, or as short as it needs to go. That line will be just the starting point for your journaling future. I give you full permission to take care of yourself tonight. The dishes and the laundry and all of the other things can wait. It's all about you tonight. We don't get those opportunities very often. So you're already there. You're already here doing the thing. So continue it on with your momentum for tonight. Thanks everyone who